Don't worry, they say. It's only flat on the bottom.
Hello, how are you doing? Long time no see. I haven't been on a video for a while because I've been on the other side of the editing suite side, just putting all the clips together that Noel's been sending me, and I realised that, yeah, I needed to kind of show my face and let you see that I'm still here, alive and well. We've been back in Cornwall now for nearly a month, over a month actually. Can you hear the little wind chime? I'm at the allotment in the summer house. It's a beautiful day and it started getting really cold in the morning, and even in the house, to sit in the house. I've come out here to record because it's really warm with all these windows and it's in full sun. So yeah, it's a little bit nicer place to talk to you and catch up on what's been happening. Somebody asked, why did you have to leave Noel on his own and go back to the UK? Is it because of work? Well, yes, it is because of work. I'm really enjoying my new job. It kind of combines teaching and social work and ministry, all of which I've worked and been trained in professionally and had as full-time jobs in the past. So it's almost as though this job, this role that is on my doorstep amazingly, has been custom made for me, and I can bring a lot of skills to it and just be myself and really find the job rewarding. It takes my mind off, you know, missing Noel, and then we catch up when I get home and we do WhatsApp. It's a little bit weird seeing him. I say it's weird because he's starting to look really like a caveman now, you know, cat weasel come Jehovah. It is a little bit scary, and even he says that when people come to see him, like the neighbours, people in the neighbouring farm, they kind of look a little bit shocked. gone totally feral. Mainly he's been doing the pointing inside the house, which is now totally stripped off. In fact, there's a story about that I must share. He was talking to me one morning and said, I've got to get all this plaster off all 4 walls in time for them coming to lay the foundations and, you know, pour the cement on the inside. It needs to all be done before they come, and I'm really going to be pushed for this. It's a lot of work on his own. And I said, maybe advertise, put something on Facebook locally, like a young lad labourer or something that would just give you a hand. Anyway, when he told me about that, I said I'm on it, and I decided to do my kind of asking, putting it out there and asking, which is something that I do. I'm not going to talk about that too much because it might seem a little bit strange, but it's just part of who I am and how I deal with challenges that come in life. And I did it, and Noel just kind of like knows that that's how I am. So I said, yeah, okay, do your thing. He rang me about 2 hours later and said, you'll never guess what's happened. Somebody walked down the drive. Now, this person helped us a year ago, not this summer gone, the last summer, when we lost Roy. It's now Friday afternoon. It's about lunchtime, so it's over 24 hours now since we lost Roy. So he didn't come back last night. We were hoping that maybe when it got dark he'd come back. It didn't. So we've been around this morning with little signs, little notices to the neighbours, to ask them to keep a lookout. We introduced ourselves to them, and she came up to help. We'd actually found him by that stage, but it was just a quick introduction, so she lived nearby, and haven't seen her since then. And she just decided that morning that she was going to come up again and just see how we were getting on. Goodness knows why she chose that morning. Walked down and started chatting with Noel, and she was amazed at what she saw and how it had changed. And Noel was explaining that, you know, he needed a bit of help really, and he was thinking about putting an advert out for a young labourer, just a lad, you know, someone he could just give some money to, cash in hand sort of thing. And then she said, oh, it might be something that my husband would be interested in. I'll ask him, because he doesn't work Thursday and Friday. He's got time to spare and he might enjoy doing that. So anyway, off she went, and within an hour he'd come down. Peter had come down, and yeah, he said I can start next morning. So Noel had this helper within this short space of time, just from asking, just from saying, look, help, we need help now. And some of you will just think, well, that's just silly, that's just coincidence, but we have to believe these things because it gets us through, doesn't it? Especially when the going gets tough. So we now still need to work on the ESB to come and connect, because he still doesn't have electricity. Can you believe it after all this time? The electrician couldn't believe it, never known anything like it. It's to do with the town that is going to be serving or supplying that area, and it comes under Newcastle West. It doesn't come under Tralee, so they obviously must have zones and regions. And I think that maybe, I don't know if Tralee respond quicker, but he's been ringing and ringing. One night he had a bit of an injury, he rang me quite late and said, I've had a fall. I was so panicking, thinking, what do you mean you've had a fall? How are you? What are you doing? Where are you? Imagining that he needed an ambulance or something, and he was in a field in the pitch black. It was because he'd gotten to the other caravan, and I shouldn't laugh, I'm not laughing because I was really worried at the time. And it got late because he was busy and got really dark. And he was getting a cup of tea, and as he was closing the door, switched the light off in the little caravan that does have a light because it's on the solar panel, just, you know, a little battery to that caravan. Turned the light off, stepped back out onto the step, but missed the step, so fell straight down onto the ground and just twisted his knee, fell awkwardly. So it wasn't a great height or anything, but it was just that he was limping around and didn't know if he'd done any real damage that needed attention. But he, you know, you say things like, put an ice pack on it. Oh, can't put an ice pack on it. We've got no fridge, got no freezer. So he went the next day and just got a bandage, one of those like socks that you put round your knee that from a chemist that just keeps it tight, and got lots of ibuprofen, and yeah, and it got better, and thankfully he's okay. But it is a worry when he's doing really important stuff, like serious stuff that can be dangerous. He's very careful, but he was just tired and wasn't really thinking and got disoriented because the light went off and stepped back out and fell. And so he was actually laying it on when he was ringing ESB saying, you know, I'm an old man, I'm alone in the field, I've got no, it's getting cold at night, I've had an injury because it's pitch black, I've got no light, can't see what I'm doing, I'm stumbling around in the dark. And they just had to say, well, we'll put the notes on the file, and for some, you know, it's the system. They're sympathetic, but they can't do anything because you can't actually speak to the people that organise the day of the drivers and what's got priority and everything. Anyway, he found out just on Tuesday this week, just gone, that an email went from Dublin to Newcastle West. So Newcastle West now do know, and they'll see all these notes from all the times that he's been ringing up. And the electrician, Edmund the electrician, has been ringing up as well, saying this is crazy, you need to get out to this guy. You know, it's really high priority now. And so hopefully it won't be too long, because it's getting cold at night and he is struggling a little bit. He said that Roy is just on the bed, you know, he's on the bed, not in the bed with him. Well, not yet anyway. But on the bed, but then he pulls this sort of like extra throw that he's got over Roy, and then as the night goes by, Roy's pushing closer and closer and snuggling up, and Noel ends up like squashed right to the edge of the bed. So I said to him, you need to go out and get a hot water bottle, because at least you can boil a kettle and get a hot water bottle and get some warmth like that. But during the day it's really warm, sun's out, and it just warms up a lot. It's just at night time that he gets cold, and I really do start to worry about him a little bit. But hopefully not for too much longer. It'll be a big celebration. It'll make such a huge difference when he gets connected to power. So this is Peter's first day. Look at how much work he did. He was able to get all that plaster off. It's such hard work because it's welded on, you know, chipping off little bits at a time. But he did leave his scaffold tower, so Noel was able to continue into the weekend. that extra pair of hands really did make a difference, and it's just looking lovely with all that exposed stonework.
After a lot of work, brand new bit of pointing there. All this is stripped, all stripped bare. Just wiggle my way through here. This wall stripped now, no plaster. All the way through here. And into this back room. No plaster. All the plaster is gone. Feels good. Feels good.
What else is there to tell you? Oh yeah, they had some blocks delivered, and the truck, the lorry that it was on, got stuck in the mud. It reversed too far over to the left of the house, where it kind of goes into a dip, you know, down towards the polishing filter that way. It's a bit marshy there and boggy, and it got stuck. So that was a bit of a drama, because they had to get like a tractor out, farmer's tractor out, to try and pull it out, but it didn't work. And tried a few times, a few different things. Then Noel had the idea of putting some pieces of wood, I think, under the wheels, so that it had some traction, and then just pulling it and dragging it and gradually getting it onto the sort of hard, you know, hard standing area. This is the little leg that stabilises the high ab on the back of the truck for when they're using it. It's like a little crane thing, and it lifts up the lorry. You see, look, it's raising up, and then they can put more stones underneath it, and that way it's just lifting it out of the bog, and then inch it forward, and hooray, we're free. Most of the walls now are exposed on the inside, thanks to having Peter to help. Worked so hard. It looks brilliant, and I think Noel is so grateful for him, and it's just nice to have some company. So when they finish on a Friday evening, you know, I think they just open a couple of beers and just sit and have a chat, and it's just nice for him. I think it's really lifted his morale, not just because he's made good progress, but just seeing other people. You know, it can get a bit isolating being there, even though he's got Roy for company. Yeah, it's helped a lot having that. And then the foundation is going down. Once the foundation is down, then the block layer will come in, and they'll start putting up the extension. It's interesting because the structural engineer is back on board. He has to come just to make sure everything's done correctly. And if you remember, he was trying to persuade us to knock it down, and we didn't. But it's interesting that everybody who comes sees how it is and what it looks like now. The first thing they say is, "This is gorgeous. Looks really lovely. What lovely stone you've got." And I think even the structural engineer said, "Yeah, it's looking nice." I don't know, I can't quite remember, but I certainly know that Dennis did. So people might be asking us, are you going to be keeping the stone exposed? Not on the inside of the building. I know there'll be a lot of people saying, You can't cover it up, it's so gorgeous. And it does look lovely. And it's nice to have the footage of it and see how lovely it looks. But this is the reason why it can't stay like that on the inside. Firstly, because if you have your exposed stone on the inside, it is impractical for when you put your furniture in. And you know, we've know, because we've had exposed stone walls in our old cottage, and you know, we just had that wall without furniture against it because it had the fire there. But we're not going to be having fires in the bedroom, so you would be needing to put your bed head against things and your drawers or whatever you need, your furniture. And that can be a little bit awkward. It gets a little bit dusty and it just isn't ideal. You can whitewash them, we have done that before in a bedroom, and it's quite nice, but we're not doing it because the other reason, and the main reason, is that for building standards, building regs, you have to have your house insulated. And so if it's a stone cottage, it has to be insulated either on the inside or on the outside. So if you do one, you know, you don't have to do both, but you have to do one or the other. So if we left it exposed stone on the inside, that would mean we had to have it rendered on the outside so that you can, you know, you could have insulation in the cavity. And we don't want that, because this beautiful stone is what we want to see when we look down the lane from the bottom and see that gorgeous little cottage that is currently rendered. And when they render old cottages like that, it kind of makes them look more modern, like modern bungalows. And so it does look sweet, that little white cottage, and we'll always remember it from early days. But the plan is that it will be that beautiful exposed stone on the outside, so it will be lime pointed, so it can breathe, and you'll be able to see that beautiful natural stone that will just so complement the, you know, the natural environment. And so that's the plan, okay? And I think you'll agree that that would be a really nice thing to do. So yes, it will be insulated on the inside. There will be one section of wall that we're going to leave just as a nod, just as a kind of recognition of the beautiful stone, bringing some of the outdoors inside.
Remember that liquid amber Noel planted? Seems to be doing really well.
So they've dropped the dumper now to make a start on Monday morning. My job this afternoon is moving house again. Not for the first time. And oh look, flat tire. Get that changed first, and then we're going to move it over next to the new caravan.
This is what they've dropped off, presumably as part of the structure of the foundations. We'll be showing you more of that in the next video.
It's beginning to look a bit like the circus has just come to town, but it's going to be a lot more convenient. I'm a bit staggered that I didn't do it weeks ago. It's going to make a lot of difference. So have a nice empty site up there now, ready for foundations for the garage, the pump house. So all systems go.
Noel is now just getting prices on things, going around to builders' merchants, trying, you know, going direct to quarries, getting prices on stuff. As you would expect, the quarries are usually wanting orders of large quantities, so that makes it difficult because he just has to order what he needs. He doesn't want too much, but still you know, trying to do what he can and talk to managers and so on, and it's going well. It's going well, because even just saving little bits here and there, it all helps. And the way that we're doing the grant is we're applying for the materials. So there are some parts of the renovation that we will be contracting out. And I say contracting, it's just that, you know, we will be paying for roofers, not doing the roof ourselves. People to come and take the asbestos tiles off, not doing that ourselves. Drains, all stuff like that. I mean, that's Dennis, who's a civil engineer, and you know, just so that it'll all be done properly. It'll all be done to building regs standards. Electrician, we've hired an electrician, as you know. But then other stuff, Noel will do himself, like the plumbing, you know, putting in the bathroom, the kitchen, all of that. And yeah, some of the labouring, taking down the chimneys, everything that he can do himself, or he and Peter, now he's got Peter on board, will just help save money. But there is also this element of trying to work as quickly as possible, because when they do come in and all the lads just join in because they're there for the day, doing another job, and they all just muck it, you actually get such a lot done really quickly. And it is a bit of a race against time now as the weather starts to turn. You want to get as much done, get it watertight before you decide to pack up for the winter and start again in spring. And Noel comes home, and that'll be really nice to just see him home for a couple of months or so over Christmas. Really lovely to hear your stories about managing apart when life has put you in that situation where you're working sometimes in different countries, other parts of the world, and you just have to do the best you can, really, knowing that it's a temporary thing and it's not it's not forever. And you know, it's a really, really important reason why you have to do it, and it will all be worth it eventually. I'll be honest, I wouldn't have coped. I'm sure I wouldn't have coped when it started to turn really cold. Such a long time to be without power. It was okay for 2 weeks in July, when we had good weather. Actually, we had better weather this year than last July, and it's quite fun. And it was starting to get a little bit cold on an evening, but nothing like now. And so I think that it would start to really affect your morale and also health, possibly. So it's just good that Noel is, apart from his little fall, he's keeping well. And it's still quite warm during the day. So we'll just have to take it day at a time, really, see what happens as regards when he does come home. But, you know, watch this space. We'll let you know.